Welcome to Alonzo Podcast. Our special guest is Arthur Griffith, founder Carifesta, DC Carnival Weekend, and Director of Operations at Culture Fest, known as the Godfather of Caribbean Entertainment in the DMV, with over 40 years' experience in both entertainment and as a business owner. We're excited to hear about his journey and insights.
Yes, Mr. Arthur is a true legend in the DMV, not just in the entertainment space, in the philanthropic space as well.
Yes, Mr. Arthur talks about the impact of new immigration policies and how it will affect Caribbean-based entertainment, economics of event planning, and lots more.
He also stressed the importance of building relationships, major key to success in the promotion game.
Loved his candid reply when asked about Alonzo's 2,000 questions about me.
We'll sit back and relax. Alonzo Podcast starts now.
Greetings and welcome to Alonzo Podcast. I'm your host, Alonzo Bash. Mr. Arthur Griffith, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Alonzo.
Much appreciation. So let's kick it up from the beginning. Let's start with a little backstory about yourself. So folks have no clue, because you're the kind of low-key kind of fella, you know. So folks who have no clue who you are, I'm going to give you an opportunity to kind of give a little synopsis of yourself.
Well, yeah. Arthur Griffith again. I am the owner and CEO of Carifesta Inc. I'm also the Director of Operations for Culture Fest DMV.
Yes.
So if folks know any events that in this modern time that's linked to any one of those two brands, Carifesta Inc. or Culture Fest, those events that fall under that brand that I have been associated with, either, create or produce or work on, bring to market, that sort of thing. So that's what I do now.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been in the business for a bit. I started when I was 16.
Okay.
Events in high school. Yeah.
What high school?
In San Fernando, Trinidad.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
NT Boy, South Boy, in San Fernando. And we had a group called the Special Charitable Projects Committee. And ostensibly what we did was we went to retirement homes and did little concerts and stuff for people who live there, because a lot of times people were there, them didn't want. And then we would also raise money to purchase toys for kids who lived at hospitals. There are some kids who they don't go home, So we did that back in Trinidad. And as part of our fundraising, which we get our parents to, basically look the other way, what was doing events.
Yeah.
And even though we were in school, we would do big public events, right?
Okay.
Involving the top DJs, back in those times we would DJ Madman Maddy and DJ Black Gold and stuff. So events being run by kids. So that's what first entertainment. I liked it. But it was always something that was a side job to, because of course you're going to school to do your O-levels, your A-levels, go to university, get that professional job. I did all those things, but I always still continued entertainment stuff. So in the day when breakdancing first came out, I did one of the biggest shows in Trinidad, breakers from east, west, north, and south into a huge competition. It's just like Strip to Barbados and stuff and whatever. Yeah, so I was engaging with media, newspaper, and all that stuff. So I was doing all that stuff at early on, late teens, early 20s. Eventually, I decided I was going to go to the US to do an MBA at Howard. At that time, now I'm 28 years old. I left all that stuff behind. Said, you know what, nobody knows me here. I'm not going to get into any entertainment stuff.
Yes.
Start this other phase of my life, because I thought I wanted to run hospitals.
Okay.
Which is a whole nother story. But these things somehow tend to find you.
Yes.
So at the time, one of the friends that I left when I left home was now the late Ken Professor Fillmore.
Yes.
A world-renowned pianist.
Yes.
Actually was the music teacher for the steel band at a high school that I taught before I came here. I was the economics teacher, A-level econ teacher at Pleasantville Senior Comprehensive.
You're the teacher?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say, to be honest with you, of what I've done, it's the most rewarding done. There's a certain rush that comes when your kids get the price theory and you know,
Yeah.
between, you know, demand and supply. And I don't want to get too much of an into econ nerd stuff. That's
Mm.
before I get to do my MBA. And so when I left, I figured everything was going to be over. That's it. But Professor and I remained friends. One day he called me. He used to come to New York for the entire summer for Sonata Seal Orchestra stuff and stuff
Yeah.
there. He called and he said, "Hey, I want to come to DC." And I was like, my goodness. I actually arranged a show for him at a club that is now no longer around. It was called the Kaicha.
Okay.
On Georgia Avenue. And he came down, did a show, a small place, 100 to 150 people in there. And, you know, again, I was going my merry way, but I was approached by two members of the Pan Master Seal Orchestra.
Yes.
That was Mark Anatol and Chris Tusa.
Okay.
About the doing a pan jazz show, and they wanted Professor to be involved in the show, and they connect. So I said, well, I could connect you guys and whatever. But you know, to cut a long story short, singing is because I was now a member of World Beat Production and part of the production of the Pan Jazz concert series that involved the top pianists in the world. You know, Professor Len Bugsy Sharp.
Yes.
You know, you know, basically every year we would do 3 or 4 top pianists, and then doing them at places like Crampton Auditorium, that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, that actually culminated in the performance by Desperados Steel Orchestra. 52 members came up, was a major production, sold out the main concert hall there. So kind of I was drawn back into the entertainment business. And the World Beat started even soca shows, you know. So that involved, I mean, I've brought from, you know, the late, you know, from Pharaoh, you know, we going back to the days of Chandelier. Yeah.
Big
So,
names.
oh yeah. And everybody who is anybody at that time, we would bring, right?
Yeah.
I was involved in those shows under the World Beat Productions. So a la United Sisters, I mean, whomever were the big folks, we were. So in the early part of the Carnival, I was involved in the big Saturday night shows during the Carnival time, bringing the best. Moved on from that, took a little bit of time off, but then started working with Knock Boys.
Yes.
And then that, you know, Marshall Montano and Ecstatic, you know, what's her name? With Atlantic, Destra and Atlantic, you know, Bungie and Asylum. Again, the best in soca. We would bring every year, do the shows at like the convention center.
Yes.
You know, we'd have these all white shows. You know, it was fun, exciting time. Now, all of these things that I'm talking about, again, was I had my job, right?
Yeah.
Main job, and then I was doing this stuff. I also sort of ventured out to doing some R&B and some jazz stuff. So
yes.
I had an event called Starfest with Frankie Beverly and Mays.
Okay.
You know, Ashford and Simpson, the Ohio Players.
Yeah.
And Equestrian Center. Also did some jazz stuff, Clarence Carter and stuff. So I kind of didn't just stay in my genre, right?
Yes.
Reggae stuff, as well. So I was always involved in some stuff, especially around the Carnival time. I was involved with some group from Nut Boys, moved on to working with Gresham Entertainment, but started off with Taboo, their signature event, but then I worked with
I was Taboo, the party at the house there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That was a nice vibe, man.
Yes, great event out there on Carnival Fridays, and then I became friends with those guys, and eventually produced some events with them. But again, stuff evolved. Then, you know, the Carnival went away.
Yeah.
And that sort of started doing work under DC Carnival Experience with Jason Cumberbatch, and then eventually as well with Robert Chiwa. Produced a few events under that umbrella, and especially when the Carnival went away, that became the sort of substitute event platform for Carnival events.
Yes.
So I'm saying my first event that I did with Professor was in 1989. Yeah, that was, so doing something since 1989 until now.
Yes.
And to evolve with different organizations, did a number of different types of events in terms of size and scope and venues. So from your club events to your concert halls to your events, right? DC Carnival Experience then became one of those platforms. I sort of took a little bit of a break from that. Also had another platform under which I produced events, which was Carifesta.
Yes.
That was more or less outdoor festival style events celebrating the English, French, Dutch, Caribbean, projecting the culture of the 28 countries. And those were like free events that people may have attended downtown, either on Pennsylvania Avenue, 12th and 14th Street, or on the grounds of the Ronald Reagan International Trade Center.
Yes.
Normally free family events showcasing the best of the local entertainment.
Yes.
Because I always felt that you needed to give a platform to those people who keep the art form alive, who keep the culture alive in big and small ways.
Yes.
And sometimes always give them the credit for what they do in terms of, practicing in somebody, 4 times a week, and they're performing for us. So this was an opportunity to give them, showcase them.
Want a chance to win a free sunset cruise? Here's how. This June, Floating Needs is celebrating both Caribbean American Heritage Month and Pride Month with an amazing offer. Simply snap a pic of yourself waving your Caribbean country flag or pride flag and email it to relax@floatingneeds.com. You'll instantly receive a unique 15% discount code valid on all our services throughout June. But wait, it gets better. Book any service with your discount code and you're automatically entered to win a complimentary 2-hour Be Well boat sunset cruise. Choose any day between July and September. Show your pride or wreck your island flag, save money, and possibly cruise into the sunset, all with one simple photo. www.floatingneeds.com. Click Events for details.
Shipping nightmares? Not anymore. Let me spill the tea on stress-free international shipping. Jay's Hassle-Free International is the game changer you've been waiting for. Air, ocean, Caribbean, Dominican Republic. They've got it all covered. And those special rates? Absolutely amazing. Full container or just a corner, their prices will make your wallet do a happy dance. No more headaches over complicated shipping. Just call the shipper lady at 443-927-5816 and watch your worries vanish. Trust me, once you try Jay's Hassle-Free International, you'll wonder how you ever lived without them. Wave goodbye to shipping stress and hello to smooth sailing. Serving Pennsylvania, Delaware, and the DMV. Remember that number, 443-927-5816. Your stress-free shipping journey starts now.
And, a good time was had by all. So that was one of those types of things that I did as well. DC Carnival Experience, Jason Cumberbatch. I sort of stepped back from that. He took it over and has been running with it successfully.
Yes.
Since I'm actually collaborating with him this 4th of July, a show at the Howard Theater with
Patrice Roberts.
Let me get to Culture Fest now in 2018. 2019. I was up by a friend of mine who then became a business partner, Eric.
Yes.
He told me about this person this woman who had who wanted to do an event, which you're ongoing. She had introduced a Caribbean event out in National Harbor, was looking to expand it and wanted to talk to someone. Well, first to him about this event that she was wanting, and he told her, the person you need to talk to was me because he knew me and whatever. And Frika Scott, who is the CEO of Culture Fest.
Yes.
She and I had meetings. There was a connection there with respect to mutual respect, professionalism, and everything else, integrity, everything else that came with the business.
Yes.
Culture Fest was born. I became the director of operations. So that means, because we do what you call raw, or you just rent a space and then everything gets built out. So
right.
lights, the works, right? So that's kind of like what I do. And based on my length of time in the business, I have the artist and artist management, more particularly, to bring folks to performers. The connections from a performance standpoint comes through me. And then I also have connections with the professionals, the vendors who do, production in terms of fencing, porta parties, you name it.
Yes.
And then because of my festival experience, I also have a database of maybe like 100 vendors. So it's craft, food, and all that stuff. So you get to a point where you can plug and play. You call once something, and because you've had a relationship with them, you can execute, right? So main thing right now that I'm involved in is Culture Fest and building that. And so, the first outdoor Culture Fest Music and Arts Festival was in 2019 out at National Harbor.
Yes.
At first time event, we had 6,000 people, which was, at that point unheard of for a Caribbean event.
Yeah, that event was huge, man.
Yeah. The concept behind Culture Fest was a collaborative Afro-Caribbean type event, a reggae Afrobeat, right? So it was that African diaspora type event.
Yeah.
The element that was introduced to that was concurrently with what was going on stage. We had these party zones that we curated on site that were like tents. So we had 80 tents, and there would be one that's like a tent with African music, piano on the rest. And the second tent would be reggae. So we had local DJs under there playing. Yeah. And so if you didn't like what was going on the stage, it wasn't your thing. You were not into what there was.
You had options.
Yeah, right. Of course, the food, court, village, and everything else. So that was something that was successful for us. Fortunately, COVID came in 20, and we couldn't do it back in 21 with that. And we hope to continue doing those types of outdoor events moving forward, right? But we are sort of closing on one that should be launched soon, the 7th.
Okay.
Of 2025. So folks can stay tuned to hear a little bit more about that particular version of Culture Fest. It's going to be a little bit of a twist on the Culture Fest Music and Arts Festival.
Yes.
I want to stay quiet this year, even though there's a lot going on socially. We still want to, so there's going to be something launched pretty soon on that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's been the story. In 2012 or so, I decided to go from this being a side job to what I do full time.
Yes.
So, so I event production, event management, and sometimes I work with some of the other promotions outside of the area.
Yes.
Army and some other places to produce, to sort of work with them, and they'll get some financial compensation for that. And so
you definitely have the experience.
Yeah, there's in terms of completing the involvement on that front, also did, and well, still continue to do, not as active right now, what I call consulting on festival to heritage tourism. So I've done, like, I worked with the government of Belize.
Okay.
With a project to help streamline their festival offerings. They have like hip hop. They have more festivals than any other Caribbean country I know. It's almost like,
really?
Yeah. Well, Rum Festival. Almost every year they celebrate something. Very haphazard. So I off and on over a period of 2 years, and sort of streamlined and developed a cohesive approach to what I call festival tourism, to where I encourage them to like bring all these things under one umbrella from a market point. So when somebody lands in the country, they're not asking what's going on. They know what before they even get there. Because now in 2010, And I also was involved in another project through one of my best friends who's, now, has been deceased 5 years now, unfortunately lost, Wilshire. And she worked with the World Bank and her region was Africa. Got into a project where we ended up producing a carnival in South Africa.
Yes, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that was a very exciting project. It was different and involved actually working with the then body of Carnival in Trinidad, with the embassy. We took a group of journalists to Trinidad's Carnival in 2010, and they were able to attend some of the formal events, like the panel.
Yes.
I've made arrangements for them to do that so they can get a feel for the carnival, because what it is that they felt that carnival, based on the observations of Desmond Tutu, that Trinidad and Tobago was that melting pot of cultures and people region South Africa should become, if if they were to heal all of their social wounds.
Yes.
So they felt if they had a carnival, I was not going to say no to a project.
Yeah.
That, and we brought folks from wire benders and stuff to South Africa for them.
Yeah.
Even shipped, like in the end, like about 3,000 costumes.
Yes.
Had the kids work on a project of using recyclable make costumes, and they were. So it was very nice, very rewarding project. Unfortunately, it didn't necessarily repeat it, but to be involved in that. I worked with the embassy of Trinidad and Tobago back in I think it was 2012 as well, to commemorate 50th anniversary of Trinidad and Tobago's independence.
Yes.
I was asked to produce an outdoor event, which I did on the waterfront in DC, to commemorate that, and brought I think it was Kess, Raymond Ramstein, Destra, and the Mighty Spark. That it was a free. We had probably 6,000-7,000 people show up. But so in that little mouthful there, that sort of is my journey from 16 to now in this business.
Yes.
It's one of those things. To be quite honest, a couple of times I've tried walking away, but it's those things, the bug bites you. If not you, somebody always reaches and drags you back in. Somebody calls and says, "Listen, I have an idea."
Right.
Plan Z, and you're like, okay, and then you see them potentially going to making all the mistakes that you already
right.
Eventually, if I were you, do is that, and the next, that follows into the next thing, you're a part of the project.
Right.
I believe that people, especially good-natured folks who are trying to really do something culturally, don't make these mistakes I made. If I can help you avoid them, make but not old ones. So I don't try to hold back advice from people, and I don't feel threatened by other promoters or other people doing stuff, because to me, the pie isn't big enough to fight over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the more people to grow the pie, is the more of us to be able to eat.
Yes. Yes.
So we still need to be winning people over, getting that second and third generation Caribbean Americans, connect with the culture, and so grow the number of attendees, because we are not going to be able to ship enough people out of the Caribbean to come here.
Yes.
But the kids of Caribbean folks and their kids to want to be in touch with their Caribbean roots, and therefore support the events that we're putting on.
Yes. So true. So true. The DMV area, the market here is, in my opinion, of course you could correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's one of the largest markets, especially in the East Coast here in the US. After New York, the DMV to me is next, in my opinion, as far as the event is concerned. A lot has changed over the years from 1989 to 2025. But what would you say some of the changes in the DMV has taken place in the entertainment space?
It is true that when you skip, New York is a mecca. Right?
Yes.
Because, I always tell people, don't compare anything that's going on in Brooklyn. Brooklyn by itself.
Yes.
But is where the travelers that go to attend Caribbean events across the United States, the majority of them flow out of New York and Florida, Brooklyn, in particular. Stuff.
Yes.
Them will come for the weekend because they want to go. They will go to the parties as well. But there was an influx of New Yorkers, right? But if you go to any carnival, South Carolina, you could call the most obscure carnival. There's always a New Yorker there.
Yeah, true. That's true.
They travel everywhere. But in terms of market, yes, DC quickly became the fourth largest carnival in North America.
Okay.
Behind Toronto, New York, and Miami. So yes, this DMV is a destination was a destination for all things carnival, and we do have a population here. The largest body of it lives in Prince George's County.
Okay.
But between Prince George's County and to some extent DC is where the population centers are within the DMV.
Yes.
DMV population tends to be more of a highly educated population.
Yes.
Of most of North America.
Yes.
Per capita, and that's because a lot of the folks who come here, they come here to go to school.
Yes.
Universities that serve the DMV, the greater DMV. And if you go to school, you end up as everybody else is in school.
Yes.
So a lot of the folks who stay are professional, right? And therefore they look for a particular type of event. You have to respect the clientele that you have.
Yes.
Right? Now, how have things changed? Between you have what we call what happened in September 11, 2001.
Yes.
Changed everything because immigration changed, right? When I was here early on, always a large influx of Caribbean students coming to the DMV, particularly Howard University.
Yes.
So we would have what they call a local event party and have 500-700 people.
Yes.
So hard pressed to do that.
Yeah.
We have a party of 100 people, that's considered now a success. And those people were largely homegrown Caribbean, right? What you may call hardcore, brown sugar.
Yes.
And that was because there was still continue to be flow of first generation who for their entertainment.
Yes.
So back in those days, your DJs were like, they sprang international. DJ, okay, you guys ruling the roost of that sprang at come Howard as Howard's DJ.
Okay.
Andy definitely had his fingers on that grassroots element, and you had those two guys, and you were good to go. And then you would bring some out of town DJs, right?
Yes.
To when they came, it was a big deal. Now, because of the slowing of the people who come, because they started restricting travel, visas, it impacted how many first generation folks were coming in.
Yes.
And then too, back at that point in time as well, when folks came, let's say out for school, Howard was like number one on their list, then University of Maryland. Now today the kids who are coming, they're going to school, University of Purdue, they go everywhere. You don't get that concentration coming to this region as you used to in the past.
Yeah,
at many universities around the country. But yeah, that definitely impacted things. So now what you find yourself doing is really plugging into the offspring of those folks who originally went to your party.
Yes.
Right? Those folks are kind of out, to extent. They're not partying as crazy as before. We get them to come out to an adult event, if you want to call it that.
Yes.
Grown folks event. But the party age hasn't changed. In other words, how you party from between 21 to 35, that's still the same partying age group, right? If you're now 35 through 50 or 50 through 65, you're not going out 3-4 times a week.
Yeah, true. So I think most folks at that age, they tend to kind of gravitate more to festivals.
Exactly. So that's why the festivals have come about for those grown folks to come out. They want to buy the that where they own chair and sit and whatever, a blanket. They still want to enjoy the culture, but at a different speed. That younger crew, when they used to come up being and young, so they were Jamaican and young. They were Trinidad, they were St. Lucian and young. Now that young is Caribbean American.
Yes.
As they're the offspring of Caribbean people. They can be Friday night. They could be in a club listening to some hip hop and Saturday in a party, with Private Ryan.
That is true.
Okay, so it's a little bit more challenging, but I see it as an opportunity because I see them the low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
there are thousands of them because each person has a couple of kids here, and you have families.
Yeah.
Reconnecting with these folks and reminding them of their heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you see it. I mean, artists like Kes, for instance, is accomplishing that. You go to one and you see folks, you're like, wow, it's he has that type of energy and that type of projection that has allowed him to connect with not only just Caribbean Americans, but even a little bit more diverse crowd.
Yes.
Some Brazilians there and some other folks from South America.
Yes.
So kind of like the new challenge. How do you bring those people out to your event? How do you communicate with them? How do you reach them? My time, I have known the stalwarts, Neil Matai, John Blake, Vaughn Martin, Tony Carr. You got under, you talked about your event, you printed some flyers, put them in all the food places. That was it, right? Went to Crossroads with flyers and you handed them out.
Right.
And you're good to go, right? Now it's social media.
Yes.
Right? If you don't find someone so that they can put your stuff out, you still be, depending on the size of and scope of an event, you might still print materials for those people on social media, but that's not a feature of most events anymore. It's all about people to Facebook, well, not even so much Facebook, Instagram, That's why I was never a person who was really put myself front and center of events.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of pictures with artists and all that stuff, or you wouldn't see me on stage.
Yeah, that's why I say most in the beginning. That's why when I introduce you, I say most people, I'm quite sure, don't even know who you are. They might know the name, but they really don't.
That is true. That is, and because I don't smoke, I don't drink, so I'm not, you know what I'm saying. So I don't, when I go out, people sometimes chase me because I'm a chaser.
Yeah.
Instead of, so by the time they look around, they want to mix a drink and others go and gone because he drunk, he drank it. I am, for a person who's involved in entertainment, I don't do a whole lot of going out, right?
Yeah.
More of a home-based person. And the running joke on me used to be, when somebody saw me at an event, they'd say, well, you putting this on or what? Because the only reason you're out normally is because you're doing something, right?
Yeah.
And how come? I said, no, I mean, I get what event or just felt like coming out today. But yeah, I mean, it's.
Let me ask this question though, because you just made a statement there. You said as a promoter, you really don't go out much, outside of events that you involved with.
Yes,
so how do you keep that pulse of what's taking place on the ground?
Well, let's put it this way: I don't go out. It doesn't mean that my phone is not always constantly ringing.
Yeah.
You understand? So, quite a few of the guys who are involved in the entertainment will still call me either to run something by me or, action to somebody or whatever, right? Whatever. So stay in tune with from that side. And then some of the guys who work outside of this region, whether it's Miami, New York, or whatever, I'm in constant contact with them.
Yes.
And they'll tell me, hey, the hot guys coming out of X is, out of Trinidad or out of Barbados is.
Okay.
Because sometimes what happens is that they want to put a tour together.
Yeah.
And so they want to run them through DC. They'll still call me and say, hey, we're putting a tour together for person XYZ. Do you want, first want them? Because I mean, not necessarily. So I'll go and you and check this. Okay, that's that person's music, and so that's how that would happen.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, my whole thing about the business is that I value relationships.
Yes.
Right, so I have relationships with venues or whatever. I have relationships with artist management. Those are I have relationships with artist management. Once you get those trusted relationships, you trust them, they trust you.
Yeah.
Get information sometimes that not everybody else has any market because they may want to work with you with their artists that who they don't know.
Yes. So true.
Shipping nightmares? Not anymore. Let me spill the tea on stress-free international shipping. Jay's Hassle-Free International is the game changer you've been waiting for. Air, ocean, Caribbean, Dominican Republic. They've got it all covered. And those special rates? Absolutely amazing. Full container or just a corner, their prices will make your wallet do a happy dance. No more headaches over complicated shipping. Just call the shipper lady at 443-927-5816 and watch your worries vanish. Trust me, once you try Jay's Hassle-Free International, you'll wonder how you ever lived without them. Wave goodbye to shipping stress and hello to smooth sailing. Serving Pennsylvania, Delaware, and the DMV. Remember that number, 443-927-5816. Your stress-free shipping journey starts now. Hey, DMV, is your car giving you trouble? Look no further than MB Auto Repair, LLC. They are not just fixing cars. They are reviving dreams on wheels. From mysterious engine noises to stubborn transmissions, their expert, certified, and experienced mechanics tackle it all. From oil changes and maintenance, brake service, tire service, etc., affordable pricing with transparent quotes. That's the MB Auto difference. They are fast, reliable, and honest. Don't let car troubles stall your life. Swing by MB Auto Repair, LLC. Your vehicle deserves the best, and so do you. MB Auto Repair, LLC, your car's new best friend in the DMV. Call today, 410-444-0500.
Those relationships is what sort of keep me in the business, and then I can help it, as I said, I don't put my name anywhere, my brand is there, but not necessarily me. I walk right past, I have no idea, and I'm fine with that.
Yes.
I tend not to go on stage and either welcome the crowd or thank them for coming, and so that's for my master of ceremonies to do.
Yes.
MC will take care of that. Background, I like to see people have fun, have a good time. So I tend to create events where they're gonna be having a good time.
Yes. I'm gonna ask you this question, because your experience is so vast. Obviously, the last week or two there's been a big conversation, Vybz Kartel, Trinidad, his fee, which is I think like $1.3 million or something like that, to that nature.
I think it's 1.35 million.
So there you go.
Yeah, it was 1.35 million.
Right. So obviously there's been a conversation that said by Vybz Kartel, putting these numbers out there in some ways has encouraged, if that's the right word to use, other artists to say, you know what, if he could call that, I could call that number, but obviously foresight, the numbers is gonna get higher moving forward, artists, and I'm sure over the years it has. Yes. How were you able to maintain a price point, or the average price point for a concert, which is really, to be honest with you, as you know, is fairly reasonable in the Caribbean space? So the average price for concert in the Caribbean space, I would say, it was between 40 and up. We say 40 and 60. Am I correct on that?
Now it is, yes.
Yeah, now it is. It used to be like 30, about $30. Yeah,
exactly. It went from 10, 15, 20, 25, then 30. Now it's 40, 50, 60.
Right.
Okay, so let me let you finish your question because I
don't want to go back to $10.
Yeah.
19 how long, but today 2025 price. In 2024 to 2025 price is wrong, like you said, 30 early bird, 40, 50,
right
here. How have you been able to maintain that price point with production price going up, artist price going up? We ain't talk about riders and all these different expenses that comes with putting on a show.
Unsuccessfully. Because typically you would ask, how have you been able to successfully maintain but I'll tell you, it has not been successful for more promoters.
Yeah.
The pricing of putting on a show is outdistancing the revenue that you can generate. And what a lot of friends don't know is they come and in the on the promoter side, we have a joke what is called the good look.
Yes.
It was a good look, but at the party you're still going to the ATM pull out money to pay off your final bills.
Yes.
A lot of happening is unsuccessful, right? Because yes, the ticket price does not match
Yes.
cost. And if you charge folks what the right price is, they want to feel as if you're going out of your mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Trying to get rich.
We still have our market where we will pay $100 and some to go to other people's genres.
Yes.
But ours, we want it at, as cheap as we can. Or
Yeah.
someone calling and asking you for a comp or to give you an eye or whatever.
Yes.
But not so if I tell you, so I'm going back now. Imagine I could do an event that had a 3-band clash.
Yes.
Bungie and Asylum, Destra and Atlantic.
Yes.
I can't do that event now. Event was considered a big time event where I was charging $30 to $40 a ticket.
Yes.
But the bands themselves were under 10 grand. Now most solo artists who are hits are 10 and up.
Yes.
You understand? So even when you're doing an event, you can't bring more than 2 or 3 people because there's nobody performing for, under $4,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. So yeah, as you say, by the time you put everything together, and given the fact that your market is small,
yes,
it becomes uneconomical, right? Because a lot of times you're using a venue, the bar isn't yours.
Yes.
Everything has to be made off the door revenue to cover expenses. Say the riders.
Mm-hmm.
Now the per-diems used to be, well, they leave on Sunday. That's a 3-day per diem.
Yeah.
They come in, regardless of whether they're reaching 10 o'clock that night or whatever.
Right.
Day of the show, and the day that they're leaving, whether they're leaving at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yes.
They per diem as well. You also need to fulfill their rider for the day of the show.
Yes.
So yeah, it's very challenging, and people don't necessarily are willing to pay the price for that. They'll go to Trinidad for Carnival and pay that price.
Yes.
It's cheaper. The artists are working for less money than that in Trinidad. They're not working unless you're Marsha Montano, you're Bungie Garland, you're Kess.
Yes.
The other artists are working for Trini rates.
Right.
But you're paying big money in Trinidad to go to all inclusives where things are cheaper to produce. But if you have the equivalent here, they think you've lost your mind. So it is tough. And that's why in all the major markets, New York, where the number of events being produced has dropped, because folks just can't do that anymore. It's not as financially feasible as it used to be back in the day.
So what's your recommendations to make it better? Or what change needs to be done?
It's the marketplace. I mean, there are no recommendations per se. I mean, it is what it is in terms of the free market system. A guy will charge things in market. Right. And so what happens is that you have a lot of young people coming into the business.
Yes.
Care how much money somebody asks to pay, and they will pay it just because they want to do the event for doing its sake.
Yeah.
If you're doing it as a business, you can't make that decision.
Yeah. Can't do for doing sake.
Girls or doing its sake. So there is that. And then sometimes from the artist standpoint, their management doesn't understand the difference in markets. In other words, what you can charge in New York is not charge in DC or Boise, Idaho. But they were flat rate, and they was like, this is what we're working with.
Yeah.
And so that's unfortunately is what we're facing as promoters on our side as event creators. So you got to pick and choose what you're doing and try to build a brand, build a relationship with your community that they trust your brand. Hope there's another event, it doesn't rain, because the patrons are still notorious for buying tickets late.
Yeah.
Hey, Sandra waiting to see if Melba going. And if that's your time, she would go and that sort of thing. So you still have that slow response to ticket purchasing. So you as a promoter, you're sitting there sweating it out, waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. Wow. So much, man. So much. Well, Mr. Arthur, just want to take this time out, man, to first of all, I've known you for quite some time, and you've helped me a lot over the years with interviews and, doing the radio thing and so forth, just in the community with your experience, advice and so forth. So I definitely want to take this opportunity to thank you for your contribution to not just the culture, but to me as well, and so many other people I know you have helped over the years. I started reading, this is a new segment I added to the podcast. I started reading this book. I actually bought this book about 2 years ago, and I was actually downstairs, and wait a minute, this is a good book to add to the podcast. The name of the book is called 2,000 Questions About Me. So what I decided to do is, out of the 2 questions about me, I'm really going to ask you. Out of the 2,000 questions, I'm going to have you pick a number from 1 to 2,000. Or whatever that number is, I'm going to ask you that question that's in the book.
8.
Wow. Normally people go higher. You go low. Okay. 8.
Yeah.
All right. 8. What do you most dislike about your appearance?
You know what? I would say everything. And I dislike aging. I hate that we have to, and that we have to die.
Yeah.
I love life so much. I wish I could live to like 300-400 years to see what life was going to be like in the future. Aging to me is one of those things that I detest, because why does your eyesight have to go and you have to start wearing glasses to read? Bones start creaking, stuff that you sometimes you ask your body to do things and it says, have you lost your mind? You can't chase that ball anymore. I wish I still could be, my body could match the youthfulness of my spirit. So that's kind of is that I like. It's really more aging and what it does to the body than anything else.
That's wow. Well said. Well, with that, man, I just want to say thank you. Any last things you want to say before we wrap it up? I know you have, once again, you want to plug the event, 4th of July weekend?
Yeah, 4th of July, the 4th itself, lots of fireworks outside. It's going to be inside as well. At Howard Theater, where we're going to have Patrice Roberts and the 18 band. So it's a live band show. The 18 band is the #1 band in the world right now. So 18 band, and then would be, well, of a sudden I'm drawing a blank. They have basically that #1 rhythm that came out of Carnival with Young Brothers song.
Oh, Big Links rhythm. You're talking about
Full Blown.
Yeah, Full Blown. We're in a good hurts.
And Trilogy. It's going to be at Howard Theater, 4th of July. Doors open 7 p.m. Showtime 8, and we're going to be having a blast, for sure. So that's an event that folks should check out. They can go to culturefestdmv.com. That's culturefestdmv.com for more information. And come out and support. Come and have a great time. Patrice always puts on a fantastic show.
Yes, she does.
Okay, and then there they can look out for other things that are in September as well. So definitely culturefestdmv.com is where to go and keep track of what's going on, at least from on my side.
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Griffith, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And much appreciation.
Good luck with the podcast and everything that you always are, guys. And I respect that about you. So I will be each other soon.
All right, boss. Give thanks.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on another episode of Alonzo Bash Podcast. If you're loving the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Your reviews mean the world to us, so take a moment to leave one if you can. It really helps us grow and reach more awesome listeners like you. Speaking of awesome, share this podcast with your friends and family. Now here's a little treat for you. Use the code BASH for 10% off your next purchase from any of our amazing sponsors. You can find their details in our episode descriptions. Until next time, as Alonzo would say, stay focused on your goals and dreams. See you on the next episode.
Watch this, talk about this. Watch this, talk about that. Watch this, talk about this. Watch how the big bumps are rolling. I just be in my own little corner. Don't harass nobody, mister. Working hard so my business fix up. Why they calling me and mix up? Anywhere I go, they're watching. They're looking for things to talk. Anything I do, they're watching. They're looking for things to talk. See me in the car, they're watching. They're looking for things to talk. When I bend over, they're watching. They're looking for things to talk. Spreading rumors like if it's news. Nothing you're posting story views. Never sending clap when you win, but repost when it's makeup thing. Always talking about who did say. Never saying what them did say. I have things that could hush them up. I just don't want to send no screenshots.